So apparently rogues are, as on WoW census, are the least played class in the game. And completely understandable. I mean, they went through a lot of changes. I mean, I guess I should have... Okay, what does my script say? Start the video as rogues are lowest played. Check. Make a panic about it. Check. Profit. Check. Okay, I got this. But yeah, rogues are least played class apparently as of WoW census, and that is something... And I guess isn't really all that surprising. I mean, I guess right now it is surprising because I think they're in a really good place for PvE and PvP. I mean, they are a definite utility. I mean, not maybe for like Mythic Plus, because they don't bring like an AoE stun, but they do bring a lot of AoE damage if you're playing Outlaw or even Assassination for that massive single target and decent cleave potential. In PvE, all three specs are playable. Subtlety, Assassination, which is one of the strongest specs in the game for PvE, and even Outlaw is viable in Nighthold. For PvP, I feel like all three specs are competitive. I do think that the spec of Subtlety probably is the best one so far right now, but Assassination Outlaw have some viable alternatives, I guess is the best way to put it. I mean, I guess this doesn't really surprise anybody, let's be honest, the WoW census saying that rogues are least played class. Because, let's be honest, rogues went through a lot of changes when it comes to Legion. I mean, the WoW changes from Cataclysm to Mob, from Mob to WoD. I mean, for the most part, the specs have been just as they are, just a little bit more tuning, whether a little bit up tuning, whether they were strong or down tuning, whether they were, you know, not performing as well. I feel like they're a spec that a class that has been going through a lot of changes, especially in Legion. I mean, we no longer have combat, we have an Outlaw rogue. We no longer have subtlety, we have this new subtlety. Assassination is, I feel like, the only spec that's a little bit more refined. And then we even have abilities that rogues have had forever that are just gone. No more can rogues all gouge. No more can every single rogue use smoke bomb. And now tricks of the trade is only something that's usable for PvP for Outlaw. I mean, it's like there's been a lot of changes. And I guess it's like just something I want to talk about because it is my favorite class I'm playing, and it is a class that I'm committing basically almost 100% of my time to the game, and I'm playing it every single day. I still feel like Rogue is kind of a class that will just have to go through a few more changes as expansion goes on and as further expansions go on, but I think the developers will be able to take Legion and use that as kind of almost like a case study to take a look at how have other classes performed in the past, how they have played in the past, and how they're going to be playable in the past. I mean, one thing that I feel like a lot of rogues did not like is the fact that they were just taking abilities away, and instead we actually just want more abilities, more different ways of dealing damage, more different ways of utility, you know, adding utility to the game. And I feel like not every single spec of rogue really had that. I kind of like how they try to define Assassination, Subtlety, and Outlaw in terms of like the fantasy of the class. I feel like going for Outlaw Rogue to give it a piratey feel is awesome, but I guess some people could argue, and they did argue, that Outlaw took a few steps towards pirates, but they didn't commit to the piratey playstyle. There should have been a lot more pirate theme based abilities, and even if they didn't make sense, even if they weren't all that powerful or competitive, they feel that at least it would have been fun. At least it would have been fun. I feel like rogues can literally be the weakest character in the game. They could be the most useless, but if they're fun to play from a player perspective, I feel like it's just one of those classes that can survive no matter the buffs and the nerfs, as long as you are fun. And that kind of comes to the core gameplay of how the devs design it. But that's just some of my thoughts on the, I guess, the topic. I am looking at the numbers, and the numbers on the WoW census are... I mean, the rogues aren't too far away from monks. They're literally like a few, like 1,000 on here. There's about 1,000 away from monks, so they're not the lowest possible. But there are still reasons why people choose monk over rogue. There are some reasons why people choose certain other classes over rogue. And I guess that also makes the rogues kind of more unique because we're the least played class. So if you're playing rogue right now and you're doing well at it, well, you have a little bit of that, you know, you have a little bit of that infamy, right? You have that little bit of underground fame of playing the rogue, especially if you're doing it well, because you're playing the class that not everybody plays, but you play it. So in a way, it almost makes you as a player a little bit more special, especially if you're somebody who is maining a rogue and you're committing to the rogue. But anyway, guys, let me know what you think about the WoW census. Do you agree with it or you don't? And do you think Legion has had the most amount of, I guess, change to how rogues have been implemented? Because I personally do. I feel like the class design, the class changes, and the abilities it took away is probably playing up to be the biggest part what it is to be a rogue. They did pretty good on class fantasy. I do not think they committed to subtlety and outlaw fantasy as much, and they could have explored a little bit more towards assassination rogue fantasy. But I do think that devs are exploring new themes when it comes to specs, and they are learning, and we should give them some time in order to see what the devs will cook up in the behind the scenes, because I am every time excited to see anytime devs are listening and paying attention to making rogue changes. And maybe I'm very biased when I'm making this video, thinking that rogues are special snowflakes when really we're just another class part of the bunch, but it is the class that I'm currently enjoying, that I am currently playing. So let me know what you think about it in the comments below, guys. Do you think Legion has had the biggest impact on rogues, or do you think it has been something else? Do you think it is class design? Do you think it's the missing abilities, or maybe something else that I missed in this video? Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next one.